we're going to talk about some books today. I am not a huge reader by any stretch of the imagination. I read Horror Hound magazine every other month, and Decibel magazine I subscribe to every month, and that's about it as far as reading goes. And stuff online, of course. I'm not a big book reader. I don't know if my mind just sees all the pages and is like, I don't have time to do this. But when it comes to music books, I usually take the time to read. It takes me a while. Some of these two books I'm going to talk about today, I have had for a period of time. The first one is Swans, Sacrifice and Transcendence, The Oral History by Nick Soulsby on Jawbone Press. This is a book documenting, I don't want to say the history of Swans, but in a way it is. It kind of talks about every phase of Swans. Swans are a band that formed in the early 80s in New York City. Michael Gira, he's kind of was the ringleader. This book is basically took a bunch of interviews of the band Swans and pretty much tried to piece together the thoughts of those involved in Swans over the years. After 40 years, I lost track of how many people have been in Swans just because I'd heard online, and then in this book, Michael Gira is very hard to work with. He looks at Swans and the songs as like his vision, and he has a vision on how it should be. And the input of band members sometimes was not taken very well or at all. So those of you that have been in bands or whatnot, you're traveling around the country in a shitty van with people. You want to be a part of something, which these people were, but I think a lot of folks felt like their opinions really didn't matter in Swans. It's been well documented. Michael Gira, after shows, before shows, would yell at band members about various things. He was very moody, had some mental health issues. He would yell at them while they were playing, like, you're not playing this part right, you're not giving me 100%, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And those types of people are very hard to get along with in general, let alone playing shows, getting paid maybe $50 and traveling in a shitty van across the country in the middle of winter. It's not really conducive to a fun environment. So a lot of people came and went with Swans. Some folks in here are very blunt about their feelings. Michael Gira acknowledges some of those things. Some people refuse to talk to the author of this book about their time. There's some pictures in here through the years. Jarbo, which is right here. It was kind of interesting to know she was just a fan of Swans and wrote him a letter on how much she liked Swans. Came to New York City, met Michael Gira. They ended up forming a relationship. She was with Swans for many, many years. Some of you may know that name Jarbo from her time working with Justin Broderick on his Jesu project, I believe. He was also in Godflesh. She worked with Neurosis and lots of other heavy bands, so she has ties to the metal community as well. So I found this book to be very interesting. It's very easy to read. You can see it's kind of broken up in who's talking or what they said. It's broken up by time period based on their album cycle. And Swans is one of those bands you could go many different directions with Swans. People have asked me what kind of band they are, and I really don't have an explanation. It's like trying to ask somebody, what's Tom Waits sound like? Well, he can sound like many different people, even within the same song. Swans is no exception. They started out as what I would consider being kind of industrial, kind of moved into more of a rock angle, kind of a new wave-ish parts of bands. I was looking at some of my releases over here. They were kind of experimental at times. They have droney type music. They're just all over the place. Some songs are 20-some minutes long. Some are super short. It just depends on what you're in the mood for, which is why I like Swans. You can kind of take their whole catalog and whatever you're in the mood for, they're going to have a song for you. So if you like reading this kind of stuff, I highly recommend this book. It's very, very interesting. And next up, it'll make sense on why I'm playing the Misfits in the background. I bought this book's been on my to-buy list since it came out. I don't remember what year this came out. It's been a few years though. But this is Misery Obscura by Eerie. Here's the back. This came out on Bazillion Points Publishing, which I believe is the brainchild of Ian Christie. I believe he's a very well-known rock journalist. I believe he has a show, or used to have a show on Sirius XM Radio. The book came with a card with Eerie autograph up here, limited to 500 cards. There were still some available. This has been out for years now. I'm kind of surprised that maybe everyone just buys their books on Amazon now and doesn't go straight to the publisher, but I bought this right off Bazillion Points. They still have some available. It's hardcover, very sturdy. I think it was $30. If you're a Misfits fan, or a Samhian fan, or a Danzig fan, I highly recommend it. Basically, Eerie was photographer for the Misfits, starting from when he was a young kid. Took some of these early photos, and kind of cool. Some of these photos have never been seen before. Early Misfit stuff, I think. This shirt here, a horror business shirt. Eerie actually, that was his idea. He actually made that shirt. And then as the Misfits went on, became popular, they ended up breaking up. I don't remember why, but Samhian was formed. It's kind of a set list that they had. If you're a Samhian fan, that's like a dream set list there. But Eerie came from behind the camera to play bass in Samhian. Glenn Danzig. It's well documented, just like Michael Gira from Swans, that he can be a little difficult to work with at times. I know there's been videos of him jumping after fans that have cameras when they're not supposed to have cameras, and all this crazy stuff. So I don't know any of these people personally, so I'm not going to comment on that. But when the Misfits dismantled, I think he was looking for someone he could trust to join the band, and said, "Hey, Eerie, why don't you play bass for Samhian?" I personally, some of the Samhian stuff I like better than some of the Misfit stuff. I know that's probably sacrilegious to say for some people, but I do like some of the Samhian stuff. When they put out Initium, they played a show. It's kind of cool here. They actually put, if you're familiar with the cover, they put blood on themselves, just like the cover. And what it was, they wanted to use real pig's blood at a couple of these venues, and the venue was like, you're not pouring pig's blood, and they couldn't find it. It was hard to find any, so they bought Karo syrup and red food coloring. And this is Eerie still has one of the bottles of that wasn't used, and that was a picture of it, so that's kind of cool. They played the Metro in Chicago for that show, and they did a show in New York too. After Samhian disbanded, there's some more cool pictures of the blood. That's when Danzig, the band, was formed. Eerie was also in that band along with Chuck Biscuits and John Christ. That's when Rick Rubin came into the picture. That's a young Rick Rubin there. That's when Danzig blew up with the song Mother that came out, and that was all over rock radio, and Danzig's popularity kind of... I love the first 4 Danzig albums. After that, he started to lose me. Got kind of industrial, and it just wasn't my thing. But the first 4 are classics, in my opinion. Mother got really popular. I think it was also on Beavis and Butthead. I think that's when things took off back then. If you were on Beavis and Butthead and you were in a band, and they talked about your video, good or bad, you just took off. So I did have the pleasure of seeing Danzig live once, and he put on a great show. Godflesh and Typo Negative opened for them, which was a great lineup. So great showman, great performer. And you see a lot of that is captured in the pictures in this book. I don't want to show you all the pictures that you won't you won't buy the book. But yeah, if you're a fan of any of the bands I mentioned, they're the Misfits, Samhian, or Danzig, this is worth checking out. Most of it's pictures. There's some words in here from Eerie. Kind of cool to get his perspective on things. I don't know how much truth there is to all of it. Again, it's probably his opinion. But if you're not a Misfits fan, you need to listen to the Misfits before you buy this book. But I'm a huge fan. This book's well worth the $30, so highly recommend you picking this up. Copies, I'm sure, are still available. I'll put a link down there. You can check it out. So if you're in a reading mood, we're all stuck at home for a little while, it seems, at least in some states. Check out these two books. They're well worth your time. So that's it, guys. Thanks for checking out the channel. And be sure to like and subscribe and all that fun stuff if you like what you hear. And I will catch you all next time.